What's up, guys? What's growing on? So I got an exciting project I'm heading over to right now that I really want to show y'all. This is less than 90 days from install. So this is a very young food forest, about a half-acre site. It was cleared for us to come in here and plant. And I just want to show you just how quickly these sites develop, just how quickly these plants take off. I think you're going to be blown away, and I'm blown away by my own jobs all the time. Abundance is real. We're going to walk on in. I mean, there's grapes on the outside fence, there's sugarcane here along the outside, there's pineapples, a lot of exciting stuff. Larger site, intents here to teach, to really show examples to people of how easily a lot of this stuff can be grown. So hold tight, I'm going to walk you through the food forest. So we installed a micro irrigation system here that was only used for the first probably 15 to 20 days. As soon as it started raining, the site is very wet. We did not need any irrigation. So I think we have 7 rows here that are all 10 foot wide with 10-foot paths. And what we've done is all the paths are raised. So raised paths, lower beds, that's putting the water in the beds. Now, if we would have known this was such a wet site, probably wouldn't have raised the paths so much. Now that they've shut off the irrigation, that problem's kind of solved. As you can see, these are, Tithonia, Mexican sunflower cuttings. And I'll say one of the most impressive things that I've noticed out here in the food forest is the ground covers. We did not plant anything in these paths. And if you look, that sunshine mimosa is already halfway up the center of this path. It's all the way over to here. If you look down, you can see it starting to crawl over the center path the whole entire way. So we have peaches, which are going to stay smaller on the south end of the grove. And all the way to that north end, we have things like avocados. So the fruit trees are 20 foot on center with the subspecies of banana or cassava or something that's not going to get as large in the middle of them. There's cassava, there's peanut mixed in here. Like I said, Tithonia, wax myrtle, native elderberry. Here's another peach. This is our native goldenrod. This is just getting ready to flower for us. That's a black Suriname cherry, dwarf firebush, Fakahatchee grass, a fig. There's some more of that Mexican sunflower, all different varieties of bananas throughout. Here's our favorite one for bringing in the beneficial insects. That's that sweet almond. You can see that mimosa is just, flowering all over this place. Beautiful. It is native, brings in beneficial insects. Here's a persimmon, another Suriname cherry. I believe that's a regular red. Here's the true firebush. The firebush isn't liking it here too much. It does not like this wet soil. So, firebush likes it a little bit drier. It doesn't like being in a swamp. There's no irrigation getting turned, but you can see, look how wet the ground is. So the site, like I said, it is kind of wet. It's holding moisture. That's one of those Brooksville guavas that we found from up by us. There's scorpion tail here. Here's the blue porterweed. That's another one. It's probably getting that little bit of yellow around the center there just from the amount of water. A lot of these plants do not like a lot of water. I really like how they've put these logs, kind of at the end of each row throughout the whole food forest. And, I had told the client to save these logs. We were originally going to do every row, but with the idea of these ground covers covering these paths, it didn't make sense to put these logs down every row. Now they make a great border. So on the outside, we did put the logs. They're going all the way down both sides. And most of these logs were logs that were already here on the site. There were some pines here in the area. They took those out, they saved the trees. We're reusing the logs throughout the food forest. Everything is doing really well. And we're talking less than 90 days. And I'd say we have a 70% cover on ground covers. I mean, this is really filled in nicely. It's pretty much almost covering. So remember I mentioned we had that watering problem. They did some trenching here on some of these rows, which were really these 2 center rows that were the most wet, just to kind of let that water out of the garden. So they gave it, let's call it an escape route. And you can see, look at these ground covers. This is just incredible. So this one's a little more sparse. Just look from this row to that row. Look how much better they did. So the peanut usually takes a little longer to start establishing. That mimosa really does work kind of fast. Look at this. That you can't even see the base of that mango anymore. It's really filled it in nicely. So, can you all believe this? 90 days since install. Abundance is real. Plants want to grow. So no irrigation, no chemicals, beyond organic. There's 4 carambola here, and we have those hiding in the center. Those are in a very protected spot. They're wind intolerant. The idea is, once this other stuff grows up around it, that's when they'll really start to establish. You know, right now they have some of those yellow leaves on them, and that's from the wind beat they're getting. You know, that's very common with carambola. You know, they do not like the heavy winds. You can see this has edible flowers. These fruit multiple times per year. Oh, hey, we got a little worker on here this morning. Getting her done. You can see those yellow leaves on there though. You see this? You know, that's the sign that it's not liking that wind. It doesn't like that heavy wind. These are pretty wind intolerant. They really want to be in that protected space. And I think it's really impressive, you know, and that's why I want to share this stuff with you guys. You know, the idea is to inspire, to teach, to give you ideas. You know, I want y'all to start planting plants. I want y'all to start sharing them with your friends. I want you guys to start sharing this knowledge, you know. I don't want to be the only one that has it. That's why I started making these videos, you know. I want to get it out to the world. I want to spread it to everybody. I want to share what I know. I want to learn what you know. I'm sure y'all always wonder, what kind of maintenance is involved? What kind of work is involved with, a forest, a food forest like this? And what I'll tell you is, I came here yesterday, briefly, bad time to film, the winds were like 30 knots, and I talked to Wes, he's the caretaker here. I said, what kind of time are you spending in this garden? What kind of work are you doing over here? He goes, Pete, I haven't been in there in a week. So he said prior, he had been spending about 30 minutes in here every morning, just kind of walking through, observing the garden, pulling any of those small weeds. And he goes, you know what? It really wasn't work. He goes, I enjoyed it. I liked it. It was like meditation. So he'd get here in the morning to start his day and get out here in the garden and pull weeds. And it was like, you know, yoga at home or meditation on the meditation mat. You know, this was therapeutical for him. So he enjoyed this, you know, and I get the same thing out of it. You know, I wish I could spend more time with my hands in the dirt. It's much better than sitting in the office. It's much better than driving around in my truck. It's very enjoyable. So hope you guys enjoyed this little site. I know I had fun showing it to you. Can't wait to show you those drone videos of the before and the after.